Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Heidi Pilar, Senior Director of Special Programs here at the 92nd Street Y. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the David Geffen stage at Kaufman Concert Hall for the second annual TCM Classic Film Festival New York pop-up at 92NY. We're thrilled to be partnering once again with Turner Classic Movies to bring this beloved festival to New York City. Thank you for being with us as we celebrate the Big Apple on the big screen, along with some very special guests. TCM and 92NY both love New York, and we're so glad you're here for this fantastic day of film and conversation. Our first event today, and some of you may have been there, with Bradley Cooper and TCM host Ben Mankiewicz, introducing New York Stories, was a perfect way to kick things off. Our next film is a defining New York movie of the 1980s, featuring an unforgettable performance and an iconic character, and we're so honored to have that star with us today. So let's get right to it. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to TCM host, Alicia Malone.
Hello. I'm so thrilled to be here in New York with all of you and being in this beautiful theatre. And I'm especially excited to talk to our next guest. He is the Oscar-winning producer of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He's the Oscar-winning actor of the film we're going to see, Wall Street. And he's been in, just a couple of films like Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct, An American President, Falling Down, The Wall of the Roses, Romancing the Stone, The Game, A Perfect Murder, just to name a few. I'm sure I'm missing a lot. Please make him welcome the legendary Michael Douglas. Well, obviously, we really appreciate you being here, especially because you're about to jump on a plane.
I am. I'm all ready for. This is so wild. So I took the Christmas holidays. We went with the family to Antarctica, and we had a fantastic time. And lo and behold, I'm finding myself 2 weeks later going to the Arctic. So I'm literally going on a plane after this and going up to Scandinavia.
And you told me that New York is actually colder right now then.
Just measure the temperature of the Arctic Circle, and the Arctic Circle is warmer than New York today.
Well, I wanted to start with New York because our pop-up festival is all about celebrating New York in the movies, and New York has been quite important to you in your life. What would you say New York means to you?
Well, New York is the greatest city in the world. I mean, there's no... That's not just me talking as a New Yorker. I've been traveling all over the world, and you talk to anybody inspirationally, and when they come to New York, that's it. And it's just such a reminder of the best in people and the melting pot that we are. I grew up here starting probably the first 4 years. My father was married to my mother. We were in California, and then they got separated and divorced. So I was back here since 1948 on the Upper West Side, where, there we go, a couple came all the way through the park, made it, and have lived off and on, and now have an apartment on the Upper West Side. Things have changed a little bit since the 1950s, to say the least.
Well, to me, coming from Australia, New York really felt like the movies. I felt like I was in a movie when I came to New York because it's been captured so brilliantly in films. Wall Street is a great example of that. This film was released in 1987, but it's set specifically in 1985 because that was a time when there were a lot of insider trading scandals. And Oliver Stone has said that this was a very personal film for him. His father was a stockbroker. So what did you think when Oliver Stone came to you with the idea of you playing Gordon Gekko?
Well, I was honored and blown away. I must say, we were talking just before and doing a little preparation for this, since I have not seen the movie fully in about 40 years. One article, because I was always just so impressed and knocked out, but I saw an article recently that said that Oliver first went to Warren Beatty, who passed on it, and then to Richard Gere, who passed on it. Now, I didn't know any of that, because you always like to think you were the one that was chosen. But saying that, those poor bastards, I mean, how do you think they feel, with a picture they turned down? And I mean, we've all got our things, but they must have been, I can't believe. So I didn't know Oliver, and I read the script, and it was serious work. So I was really happy, excited. It was a great part. You don't get many good parts in your life. I've always tried to pick, having a producing background, I think are good movies, and I'll take whatever part I can in a movie that's good. I don't worry about my part, but this was a great part. And I guess when Oliver was asked, he was looking for an actor that had some business acumen. And because I was also a producer, because I did grow up in New York City, went to the Alan Stevenson School, Lexington Avenue, and then I went to prep schools, Choate, and so I had a familiarity with East Coast and that kind of life, and I had friends that I met from early school that were into Wall Street. So it wasn't, I wasn't closely familiar with it, but I understood the kind of the lifestyle, and I guess that's why he chose me.
Are you an actor who needs to find something to relate to in a character that you're playing?
Do I try to find something I can relate to? Yeah, it's nice if it happens. I mean, I did my homework on the picture. There were a number of different people. I mean, the basic difference between two big differences between, let's say, now Wall Street and then it was private equity. In that the people who were running this were not people who ran companies, i.e. Meta, Amazon, or Elon, individuals who actually built companies and stocks. They were private equity people who were putting deals together. It's almost like an agent. So they were getting commissions and making, at that time, a lot of money. I mean, it looks like bupkis now compared to what is going on. And so, I did some homework. I had a couple of friends in the area, did a lot of work. We researched several gentlemen who would talk to us. I remember going to the Drexel Burnham offices in Los Angeles with Oliver, and we were having a nice tour. And they were nervously, everybody's quite sure what this movie was going to be about. I remember Oliver asking for, "Where's the shredder?" I said, Oliver, you don't ask for the shredder, Oliver. And so, it was like kind of a cumulative effect, but it felt pretty good. And then there's certain little things you come into close to the end. Hair has always been an important part of my acting. All right.
You got good hair.
Everybody, and so I was trying to figure out, the right balance. And one of my dear friends is Pat Riley, who's the president of the Miami Heat, and was a wonderful basketball coach. And one time I remember before the picture was starting, I was with Pat down in Miami, and he likes hot rods that had an old Mercury at the top down, and a Miami even the top down. I was looking at him in the back seat and said, "Look at that. His hair isn't moving, man. His hair is not moving." And so the character's name was Gecko, and it's just funny how that kind of thing helps. And Jack Nicholson always used to give me shit about my hair. About what's with his hair acting? And I say, you should talk. I mean, Jack, you ever look at Jack? Jack does more work with the hair that he's got than anybody I've seen,
Well, Oliver Stone, brilliant filmmaker, a little bit intimidating. Can you tell us the story of what happened just 2 weeks into filming Wall Street?
Okay, so, about the second week, finishing the second week of filming, And there's a, knock on my door. Yeah. Hey, Mike, it's Oliver. Can I come in? I say, yeah, come on in. So he comes into the trailer and he sits down. He says to me, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm okay. Okay. You doing drugs? I said, no, I'm not doing drugs. Because you look like you never acted before in your life. Well, you see, Gordon Gekko just went, So I said, well, and I don't like to look at the dailies, because I one of those guys only sees what's wrong, which is not going to be in the film. But so I don't really ever go see dailies unless there's an issue or problem. So I said, well, I guess I better take a look. He said, yeah, you better. So I go to the editing room, and I look at two scenes. One was the seduction scene with Charlie Sheen in the back of a limo, and another one with him at 21, these two scenes. And I'm looking at them really hard and critically, and they seem pretty good. I don't know. So I come back and say, Oliver, I thought it was pretty good. He said, yeah, it is, isn't it? I said, what are you doing? And he wanted just a twist more nastiness and vengeance and meanness for this guy. And he was willing for me to hate his guts for the rest of this movie to get that extra little edge. And so I cherish the story because the truth is that in Oliver's career, you start with Jimmy Woods in El Salvador, Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July, Kevin Costner in JFK, Val Kilmer in The Doors, my performance. I'm sure I'm missing a whole slew of actors who have given their best performance with Oliver Stone. And why? In part, because Oliver, many directors are there like as the patriarch figure who's, acting as insecure, and they're there to support the actor, make him better. Oliver was a Vietnam vet, and he treated actors as if he was in the trenches, and whether he could trust you or not. And he pushed actors. And his record of successes with actors is quite impressive. So I'm deeply, deeply appreciative of the fact that he gave me the part and the fact that he pushed me to another level.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. We were talking backstage that when you put your father, the late, great Kirk Douglas, his career and your career together, it spans like 80 years of films. And obviously you two are very different performers. But when I watch you as Gordon Gekko, I'm reminded of your dad in The Bad and the Beautiful as Jonathan Shields, in that you are both so good at playing charming and ruthless at the same time. Your characters can do terrible things, but we still kind of like them. So I was wondering if you enjoy playing that kind of grey area, or characters where the audience is never sure of their true intention.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. No, I love the gray area. I think there's an aspect of all of us that are gray. We like to see ourselves as hero, but we've all done things that we're probably not proud about. And Dad lived in a generation of good guys and bad guys, sort of post World War II. Which the enemy was defined much more clearly, and you were either a white hat or a black hat. And I think for my generation at that time, and particularly with the Vietnam War, growing up when I was in college and in the years afterwards, where this was this gray area of where all of a sudden large parts of our population were questioning whether we should have been there or not. And there were protests that caused a lot of friction within families and all of that. And I also think our parallels, my father and I, is my father played like the sensitive young man in several roles until he did The Champion, a movie called The Champion in 1950, which he got nominated for an Oscar, where he played a prick. He played a tough boxer. And in a strange way, my career after my television in Streets of San Francisco, but in feature films was playing sort of softer parts until I played Gecko, which I think changed things around. But you're right. I was first aware of it when I was doing when I was doing Fatal Attraction, and when doing Fatal Attraction, we were having our screening of the picture, and in the picture, early part, I had this affair with Glenn Close, and then I'd come home to my apartment, and I get in bed to toss the bed around to make it look like I'd slept there, but I hadn't. And the audience laughed, and our producer, Sherry Lansing, said, "My God, they've forgiven you already."
Yeah. So true.
What is it with you? How do you do that? You just committed adultery, and
You're good at it. Now, I know you literally have a plane to catch, so I just want to ask you this quickly. This film is so interesting in that it's both a time capsule and ever evolving. It's a specific time in New York. You see the Twin Towers, you see the technology, you see the fashion, the interior design, very 1980s, but at the same time you can watch it, can't you, and relate it to today. It moves with the times.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. He was a villain. He was a villain, but this just shows you what villains should be seductive. I mean, this is the point. And there were areas in terms of you got to point out the clothing. The costume designer, you don't think of men's clothing as being an area with costume designers, but Ellen Morajnik did an excellent job as our costume designer and used a famous tailor for the Wall Street stars named Alan Flusser, and we got into the horizontal stripes and all of that. And the idea after the movie came out that if I had one more drunken Wall Street guy come up to me and say, "You're the man! You're the man!" I said, I was the bad guy. No. This is, and so it used to scare the hell out of me, as to where we're all going. But before we go, I want to just give a shout out to David Zasloff, the head of Warner Brothers, and a guy who really does feel enough about films, who's here. He's got a lot on his plate. We all been following the news. But that's so wonderful that he's here. And Ted Turner is one of my idols. I admire Ted Turner so much. So it's a treat and an honor to be here.
Well, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for supporting Turner Classic Movies and being here. Please thank Michael Douglas.
Thank you.